aho bisaba gusa kujya guhahira mu bafatanyabikorwa babo batandukanye bidasabye ikindi kiguzi ugahabwa amanota ukoresheje QR code cyangwa ikarita yungukirwa. Uko ugenda uhaha kenshi ukagenda wongera amanota ari nayo izaheraho ugura ubwishingizi butandukanye mu kigo cy'ubwishingizi cya Radiant. Ubu ushobora kungukirwa mu bafatanyabikorwa bacu batandukanye ari bo Golden Fashion Supermarket, Prodi Limited, Mount Mary Supermarket, Lagarette Supermarket, Kigali Gas Traders Limited, Golden Furniture, Gas Oil, Igihozo Supermarket Limited, Source Oil na Golden Technology. Ku bindi bisobanuro wahamagara 2050.
Wow, ubwishingizi muri Radiant Royalty ndumva bubonetse ahubwo dukorere none mbega byiza. Uziko narabuze ahantu nakora ubwishingizi di?
Murakoze cyane.
Murakoze cyane namwe. Muri Radiant isezerano ni isezerano.
We got you updated. This is Radio Manzi News in English.
You are tuned to Radio Imanzi broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. President Paul Kagame said it's hard to overcome tragic history unless you emphasize truth and facts and interpret all that the right way. Genocide suspect Jean-Paul Micomyiza finally arrived in Kigali early this morning after being extradited by Sweden. Ethiopian authorities have arrested 4 suspects in connection with the Sunday bomb. Welcome back. News in detail. President Paul Kagame firmly dismissed the thoughts of those who consider Rwandans and Africans at large as people who need to learn values from others. He said this as he was addressing a dinner event that brought together diplomatic corps in Rwanda and other governmental officials.
Find the interpretation. What do you mean when you're talking about a genocide? Is it just the numbers of people who have died? Or is it even the manner in which they died, being targeted for who they are? But if you're saying, oh, even others died, that's okay, that's true. There are many people who died here. So because you're saying, oh, even Americans died, even Italians died in Rwanda, so it stops being this, what it should be called and what the UN has called it. We have to have the capacity, and we do, to really absorb this insult, I should say. We have developed the capacity to absorb it and live our lives and move along. And we change what we have to change and live with what we have to live with.
Due to the pandemic,
the president noted that it is hard to overcome Rwanda's tragic history unless you emphasize truth and facts and interpret all that the right way.
we had to change our direction of business from the normal retail sales to strategic projects.
This is the month of April when we have all kinds of problems. When we try to remember the history, the tragic history and so on. You cannot overcome that history unless you emphasize truth and facts and interpret all that the right way. There are things that we know, we have lived, we have seen, so we need to give them a correct interpretation and reading, and we try to do that. So sometimes it is striking to see that some people want to teach us who we are, worse still, who we should be. That's where the problem comes in now. But again, even when we have a problem with that, we will always respond respectfully.
President Paul Kagame said anybody trying to interpret our history for us and their line of interpretation becomes the one we must follow. There is a problem with that. We will always respond respectfully.
This is the month of April when we have all kinds of problems. When we try to remember the history,
Please excuse us, we had a technical issue. The president also mentioned how surprising it is that people who have hundreds of years of justice, democracy, human rights and so on get it so wrong in this particular case. Genocide suspect Jean-Paul Micomyiza finally arrived in Kigali early this morning after being extradited by Sweden. The National Public Prosecution Authority spokesperson Faustin Husi issued a statement commending Swedish judicial authorities for the move. Survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi also welcomed the strong signal from the Swedish authorities and continue to appeal that other countries hosting such criminals stop endorsing impunity. The government of Sweden earlier this month gave the green light to the extradition of Micomyiza to Rwanda, where he is accused of involvement in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. According to sources, evidence gathered during investigations shows the participation of the suspect in crimes committed in Ngoma commune in former Butare prefecture, currently in Huye district in the southern province, at the university campus and its surroundings. During the genocide perpetrated against Tutsi in 1994, Micomyiza was a second-year university student at the National University of Rwanda in the Faculty of Applied Sciences. As a university student, he was also a member of a committee called Comité de Crise that was instrumental in committing the genocide. The mission of the Comité de Crise was to search and identify Tutsi civilians to be killed. Also at the gates of his family home, Micomyiza set up a roadblock where many Tutsis were identified and executed. Agriculture experts and researchers believe that the agricultural sector should focus on research and technology to provide better solutions that will enable Africans to have enough sustenance, as in many countries, population will have doubled by 2050. This is one of the observations made by actors in Africa's agriculture sector during the Africa-wide Science, Technology and Innovation Conference held in Rwanda. Dr. Canisius Kananjire, the Executive Director of the African Agriculture Technology Foundation, explained the need to consider the use of technology and research to find an increase in agricultural productivity in line with the growing population. He said that agriculture in Africa is characterized by low productivity, and that reflects into low production of food on the continent, which as a consequence goes to food and nutrition insecurity. The current situation where Africa relies on food imports from other continents is precarious. Not only does it cause an increase in food prices for each population, but it also leads to shortages as evidenced by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. Dr. Martin Weyler, the Director of Knowledge Management and Program Evaluation at the Africa Union Development Agency, emphasized that improving agricultural technology is the key to addressing the issue of insufficient productivity.
This is the month of April when we have all kinds of
The meeting took place as Malabo Accords stipulate that at least every African country that has signed a budget allocates 10% of its national budget to agriculture and 1% of it is invested in agricultural research. Only so far, no sub-Saharan African country has been able to achieve this feat of Africa's goal to eradicate hunger by 2025. Marathons Rwanda has created a software for commercial purposes, and one of its prominent elements currently functioning in Rwanda is access to health professionals for consultation and medical prescriptions. About 80,000 people have already signed up for this technological development so far, and it is being used in 30 health centers and in 10 daycare centers as well. The administrator of IHEZA, Teofila Hudiro, says the councillors in the district of Gasabo, Bugesera, Rulindo and Gicumbi were given cell phones with the software in it that do not need an internet connection to be functional.
Due to the pandemic, we had to change our direction of business from the normal retail sales to strategic projects. Basically with strategic partners. We are currently working with a number of strategic partners in different sectors, be it healthcare, education, transportation, agriculture. One of the biggest projects we're working on actually right now is with the National Institute of Statistics. So this year's census will be done using a Mara smartphone. They have acquired about 30,000 devices. The future is very bright. Our vision was to launch new models every year, and we have tried our level best to keep up with that, even despite the pandemic.
A search on Google indicates that Rwanda has around 4,000 different types of software that can help the country attain its goal of being able to provide services using technology by 2024. We shall continue with some items of international news after the advertisement.
Are you looking for the best language interpreting services for your next meeting, training workshop, or forum, in person or remotely? Look no further. Gemini Multimedia Limited offers high-quality and professional interpreting and document translation services in various fields of expertise. Based on the International Association of Conference Interpreters, AIC, and with a team of professionals with more than 10 years of experience in the field, you can rely on us for a smooth running of your next event. Locate Gemini Multimedia Limited on KG 14 Avenue 258 between Kagugu Health Center and Fawe Girls School. You can also call us on 0790-719-909 or visit www.geminimultimedia.org. Gemini Multimedia Limited. Speak clearly. Listen reliably.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
72 people have been killed and 11 wounded in a series of intercommunal conflicts in South Sudan's Leah County of Upper Nile State. The United Nations mission in South Sudan said it also recorded 64 cases of sexual violence. The mission head urged national and local authorities to take immediate measures to reduce tensions and prevent escalations and retaliatory attacks. The mission stressed that it has deployed additional peacekeepers to conduct regular patrols, including night patrols in Leah Town, to prevent further loss of life. The Central African Republic has adopted Bitcoin as its official currency alongside the CFA franc. The country has also legalized the use of cryptocurrencies. The Minister of State and Director of Cabinet of the Presidency, Obeid Namsir, said in a statement that the National Assembly voted unanimously and considered the law governing cryptocurrency in the Central African Republic, and President Faustin Archange Touadera promulgated it. Ethiopian authorities have arrested 4 suspects in connection with the Sunday bomb attack at a hotel in the historic city of Harar. Harare Regional State Police Commissioner Nessie Zakaria said that the 4 suspects are being investigated and the police are monitoring the situation closely. The Canadian Country Statistics Agency has said a record number of Canadians are said to retire, warning of a looming labour crisis linked to the aging national workforce. Statistics Canada said that the working age population, those aged 15 to 64, has never been older, while over 1 in 5 workers in Canada, 21.8%, were nearing the mandatory or proposed retirement age of 65. Acrid smoke hung over New Delhi for a second day on Wednesday after a massive landfill caught fire during a scorching heat wave, forcing informal waste workers to endure hazardous conditions. The landfill in northern Delhi's Baswa is taller than a 17-story building and covers an area bigger than 50 football fields. Waste workers who live in nearby homes had emptied onto the streets on Tuesday evening, but by Wednesday morning, the thousands of people who live and work at the landfill had begun the dangerous process of trying to salvage garbage from fire. The Indian capital, like the rest of South Asia, is in the midst of a record-shattering heat wave that experts said was a catalyst for the landfill fire. French President Emmanuel Macron was today the target of a batch of tomatoes hurled by the disgruntled onlooker as he made his first public appearance after his weekend re-election victory. Reflecting his promise of uniting a divided France, he chose for his first post-election visit the French town of Cergy-Pontoise in the Paris suburbs, a low-income area where far left candidate Jean-Luc Mélenchon came out on top in the first round of voting on April 10th. Macron was meeting residents when a bunch of cherry tomatoes whizzed by close to his face, missing him by hitting bystanders. Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. The Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 390,700 Rwandan francs from 5,300 shares traded in 6 deals on the equities market, while the fixed income market remained quiet. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 255 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 25,500 Rwandan francs from 100 shares traded in 1 deal. I&M Bank counter closed at 43 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 167,700 Rwandan francs from 3,900 shares traded in 3 deals. Bradgo closed the counter at 155 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 197,500 Rwandan francs from 1,300 shares traded in 2 deals. Simerwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs, MTN Rwanda at 180 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchuri Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.7 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.9 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.28 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.29 Rwandan francs. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,010 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,030 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,271 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,296 Rwandan francs. The euro buying price was 1,075 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,097 Rwandan francs. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.